Nether update, also known as 1.16, brought a slew of brand new features to the game. One of those features was trading with a brand new mob called the piglin. Today we're going to show you how to go from trading like this to something a little bit like this. In today's Minecraft tutorial, we are going to learn how to build an automatic bartering farm that brags of upwards of 25,000 items per hour. That's pretty fast. This is going to be a slightly different style of tutorial than we normally do because this does require a little bit more advanced redstone mechanics. It's not the most difficult in the world, but you're going to want to pay attention pretty close. As you can see, I've already got some of the infrastructure in place for this build. We've got a few different lines that run across that we'll explain here in a moment. But we're going to go ahead and start out by building out this platform right here. This is where you're going to end up standing when you've got the piglins in their holding cells. This can be as big or small as you want, but we're going to make it about that size for the time being, just for demonstration purposes. Also, another thing to note is that I normally provide an item list in the video itself, but because there are so many different moving pieces to this build, I'm going to go ahead and throw the item list in the description of this video, so be sure to check that out. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave a like. Leave a comment. Love hearing your feedback. It's always good to hear from you. The first circuit that we're going to tackle together is this purple line right here. This one allows you to launch the entire farm with the flip of a switch, and it also controls the mechanics that keeps the farm running from there on out until you're ready to turn it off. Out of the back of this solid block right here, we're going to run a redstone line down this glass tower. This is a cool little mechanic in Minecraft that if you put glass side by side like this going diagonally, you can run redstone all the way down. If these were solid blocks, that would not be the case as it would block the signal. Then we're going to have two pieces of redstone dust right here, and one more right here. Then we'll go ahead and take our comparators and we'll throw them down in a row just like that, 3 on this side facing that direction into this solid block, and then we're going to put 2 more comparators going just like this. This is a very simple pulse extender that you need to have exactly like this, otherwise the timings will be thrown off, the piglins will not catch the gold or throw the gold in time for the next one to launch, and it just breaks the whole thing. So this layout exactly, 3 going this direction, 1 redstone dust, 2 solid blocks, very important that those are there, and then 2 more comparators in this repeating loop, just like that. Once this pulse extender goes off, we need a way for it to fire again. So the way we're going to accomplish that is with a redstone repeater on 4 ticks. Absolutely needs to be on 4 ticks for this to work properly. Go ahead and run redstone dust all the way down the line, just like so, and then grab yourself a redstone torch and place it out of the side of the block just like this. You can go ahead and place a temporary block just like that, and then like that, and then we'll break this one, and then we'll put a piston facing this direction and break that one back there. Then what we're going to do is take a redstone block and place it right on the edge of this sticky piston, and it will power this pulse extender. And watch, this is how the whole thing works. It's just like magic. Once this extender goes off, it'll fire that piston, which will repower the entire thing again. Where this lever comes into play is that when we're ready for the farm to be shut off so that this isn't constantly cycling through our gold supplies, if we're not ready to AFK here, we can flip this switch and power this pulse extender, and it will permanently stay on, and it will keep that redstone block back just like that, and no more gold will come firing out of the droppers. From here on out, the rest of this purple circuit is fairly straightforward. We're going to take a repeater and face it out of this redstone block just like that. 1 tick is fine, a redstone line running all the way across the back of this little platform right here, and then we'll take repeaters and face them directly into the back of these blocks. And now, the only thing left to do is add these droppers right on top of these purple blocks, and you'll hear them kind of clicking off there. The reason for that is because this system is powered on by default, but that's not a big deal because these won't fire off until they are cycled back off and back on again. And it's at this point in the recording that I am just now noticing that the yellow and blue circuit lines are 1 block too high. So if you're building along, it's not a big deal. The basic shape of those is correct. Everything just needs to come down by 1 block. And with the magic of editing, everything should now be at their correct height. Now we should be in business to start building the item input system to throw all of our gold into these droppers. What we want to do is to distribute these evenly so that every dropper gets one piece of gold before it cycles through and gets more. That's what this yellow and blue line allows us to do. So we'll go ahead and take hoppers and face them down into the top of these droppers, and then we'll put a temporary one right here and then throw another one right there, break that one, and then run a line all the way across just like this, and then curve it right here at this L shape where it lines up with these two white blocks that we've got right here. On top of these two white blocks right here, above the switch, we're going to place a chest here and here, and then we should have our delivery system without any of the redstone yet, but you know, the basics right there. This yellow line is going to serve as our locking mechanism, which will allow gold to flow all the way down to the end of this line, one piece at a time. And when it finally does reach this last hopper, it will drop one piece down below into each of the hoppers that are going into the droppers. Like I said, it will distribute gold evenly all the way across the board. How we accomplish this is pretty simple. We need a comparator facing out of this hopper right there, a redstone torch, and then one repeater set to 1 tick facing this direction, and then a redstone dust line all the way down to the end. I just want to clarify as well that what this is doing right here is not locking these hoppers, it's locking the hoppers below so that items can still flow freely through this hopper line, and then once it reaches the end, it unlocks these bottom hoppers and then allows gold to flow through. Just wanted to clarify that so there was no confusion whatsoever. This redstone line is on by default, and because I've been on a little bit of a kick lately where I want everything to be as lossless as possible, I didn't want any gold whatsoever sitting in these hoppers right here so that we could maximize our efficiency. That's where this blue line comes in, and this is the one that took me the most time to figure out. What we want this blue circuit to do is tell this system right here to shut off by default. And then once it knows that items are flowing through the system, it will turn it back on so it will lock before items start flowing in here, because if it's unlocked by default, items are just going to go down here until this is completely full, and that's not what we want either. So it took a little bit of brain power, but here's what we have come up with. When an item crosses into this hopper right here, it will be detected by this comparator. Then we've got a redstone torch, and then it will feed down a line all the way down to the end. And it may not look like it, but this last piece is the final piece that's allowed to be powered. It is 15 away from the power source, so we're going to place a repeater right here, again set to 1 tick. This is very important, otherwise it could break the system. Needs to be on 1 tick. From there, all you need is a small 2-torch tower, just like that, with a repeater coming out of this block, which is powered by default. And then we run redstone dust here, here, and here, and then it shuts off this system. So let me recap for you. Once we put gold into this chest, it will start throwing gold ingots one at a time into the line. When one gold ingot reaches here, it will shut off this torch, which will shut off this line, which will eventually come up here and shut off this redstone repeater, and it will allow this system right here to turn back on by powering this torch back on and locking all of these hoppers. It may seem a little bit intimidating, but it does make sense once you get the circuits in place, and it will allow everything to be distributed evenly and without any loss whatsoever. If you have followed this build thus far, we are nearly done. This is it, guys. This is the core mechanics of our 25,000 item per hour bartering farm. All that's really left to do is grab our piglins and throw in a retrieval system so that we can store all of the goodies. So in order to give the piglins a place to stand, we're going to go ahead and take some hoppers and face them forward into this concrete block right here and go all the way down the line. And so that our piglins don't fall into these hoppers, let's give them a place to stand. Carpet will do fine. We've chosen blue because it's my favorite color, but you can pick any color that you like. Before we start throwing piglins into this holding area right here, we need a way to keep them in and keep them separated. So we'll start by placing a solid block out of the side of this hopper right here and go ahead and build a little bounding box all the way around, framing this area out. We've actually built this too deep because we're going to need to be able to put glass here or solid blocks in order to keep them in. I would suggest glass so you can see what's going on, but you know, To each their own. This will hold the piglins in, but we need to keep them separated, so each one is assigned to a dropper. All we need to do is place a trapdoor on each of these blocks right here, and then just go down the line and open them all up. I'm gonna leave it to you to figure out how to grab piglins and put them in these holding cells. It's gonna take a bit of work, but because we're in a creative testing world, I don't know if you're gonna work or not. The last thing we need to note for this farm is that this line of hoppers going directly into these blocks right here are the hoppers that the piglins are standing on top of, and we can put storage directly underneath that if we go just like that. Now, what I have done here, this is not the only way to do storage, but it is the way that I found to be the least clogging. This does not at all rely on any kind of sorting mechanics. This is just focused on pure volume of input of items. So each individual piglin is assigned to each individual row of chests and storage. Each module has 4 double chests, and this could fill up in about 2 hours. Like I said, this thing is freaky fast. 2 hours to fill that entire storage unit. It's kind of crazy. 25,000 items is a lot. Another quick thing to mention is that if you're going to build this type of a bartering farm, you're going to need a pretty solid source of gold, which Prowl and I have on Truly Bedrock, our survival series, multiplayer, survival, SMP, whatever you want to call it. If you haven't heard of Truly Bedrock, go check it out. It's a great series. I've got plenty of videos on my channel for that. But you're definitely going to need a ton of gold to keep this thing running. I have an entirely full inventory of gold ingots, and we're just going to throw them on in here, and you'll see the magic starting to happen. As you can see, we've already got items flowing through the system. The comparator is on. This circuit is off like it should be, and the locking-unlocking mechanism is firing as it should as well. If we watch right here, this hopper has nothing, and then there's a gold ingot, and then it disappears. Essentially, all of these droppers right here should have the same amount of gold ingots. Just to double check, yeah, that has 13, that has 13. We must have got it right when it was firing off, but yes, everything is coming in evenly distributed as it should, and once the gold empties out of this chest, this comparator will shut off, and the last remaining pieces of gold locked in these hoppers right here will be released into the system as well. And that's it! This thing is fully functioning. Let's go ahead and flip the switch, wait for that comparator clock to shut off, and it will start kicking into high gear, and we're gonna get tons and tons of amazing trades. There we go, all of our piglins have caught their gold. They'll stand there for about 10 seconds and then throw their gold and the items that we are gonna retrieve. Fantastic. I've only let the system run for a couple of minutes now, and let's take a look at what we've got. Wow, dude, almost already filling up 2 full rows in each double chest. We can get anything from quartz to gravel to leather to ender pearls to fire charges, glowstone, like, there's just so much stuff in here. Crying obsidian, you get a ton of stuff. It's a lot of bang for the buck. But again, get a lot of gold, get a gold farm, and you can get some pretty amazing trades. I would say probably the most valuable are the quartz and the crying obsidian, but this soul speed 3 here too. This is a pretty great trade. So that's it, guys. That's the end of the tutorial. We've got a fully functioning bartering trading system that it just eats up gold. So once again, cannot stress enough how important it is that you have a consistent source of gold. Get a gold farm if you want to do something like this. Otherwise, you're going to burn through your supplies in about 15 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Would love to hear from you what you think about this design, what you might improve about it for other iterations of this build. But thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.